Hi,
Got
Jeff.
it?
My name is Stan Fitzgerald. I'm the Chief Political Advisor with Veterans for America First. You got a glowing referral from the Tea Party's Debbie Dooley. So we
She's
reached
been a
out to
good
you.
supporter and a good friend.
Oh yeah, she's a big name in Georgia and in the country. So we wanted to get you to a board review before the primary, which is coming up in 10 days. So
Yes,
hopefully we
sir.
can get you something in a couple of days that we could use to help give you a bump. But
Excellent.
can you tell me a little bit about yourself, who you are, your background, and the position you're running for?
Okay. Again, my name is Jeff Jones. I am a candidate for the Georgia Senate District 3 seat. I served 3 terms in the Georgia House from 2015 through 2020. Lost my 2020 primary due to shenanigans in one of the 3 one of the 3 counties that was in the House district. That was kind of at the height of COVID, and kind of in hindsight, probably not a lot I could have done to have changed the outcome of the election, even if I'd known what was going on. But so I have a consistent, solid, conservative voting record in the House. And as I talk with folks, you or anybody else, I encourage people to check me out. In fact, I quite often I'll refer to Neil Bortz. You may recall the Atlanta radio host. He often said, in fact, he always said, "Don't believe a thing I say to you that you haven't independently verified." And I encourage people that I'm meeting who don't know me to do that very same thing for me. Don't believe a thing I'm telling you that you haven't verified through looking at my voting record, the positions I've taken, because everything about me is an open book. My website, got 2 Facebook pages. I think I provided those in the application. But anyway, I just have a consistent record. The issues may change, but my integrity, my values, and my positions about how I respond to those issues hasn't changed. First and foremost, I believe that my duty is to represent the citizens of the district, then the citizens of the state, and then I'll listen to leadership if if after all that's said and done, there's still some question about a vote on a particular issue. So my background is I spent the last 25 years as a small business owner operator. We opened up a couple of car wash quick lube stores back in '94 when I was laid off from a good corporate position. And that fact, that's what brought us to Georgia. There was a Medicare reimbursed home health care company that was headquartered in Glenn County that I came as their VP of Human Resources. And little did I know that the feds had them in their sights for Medicare fraud. So a year and a half into that, everybody got laid off. The feds forced the sale of the company. And we, quite frankly, didn't want to move. We had fallen in love with Georgia and the area. We live in Glenn County, actually live on St. Simon. And as I said, literally have fell in love with the community, Georgia's conservative values, this beautiful area that we live. So we found a way to stay, and that was by opening our small business. And fortunately, my corporate background, I had business planning as part of some of the stuff I did. So I put those skills to work, if you will, that I had learned in the corporate world, and we were able to open a small business. So it was probably really that small business that gave me a good platform to run for the House seat back in 2015. People had seen both my wife and I in action with the way we treated our customers, the way we treated our employees, and the way we ran our business, always trying to do the right thing and high standards. And that's just the way we run our lives or operate our lives. That coupled with the fact that we both, my wife and I both, are very active in the community and serving on nonprofit boards. I was on the Fellowship of Christian Athletes board, Red Cross, a Christian school located here. I was on that board for years when we transitioned from being church sponsored to independent. Served on that board for quite a number of years. I served on the board of the Safe Harbor Children's Center for 14 years and was board chair of that group for 5 years. And that's a group that basically took in kids in 24/7 living arrangements who had been abused at home. difficult kind of thing, but just an example of our community involvement. So as I mentioned, what brought us to Georgia was a corporate relocation, and I had spent 20 years basically in the corporate world, moving about every 3 to 5 years. I have experience in now Medicare reimbursed home health care, the company that the feds shut down. I was with KinderCare Learning Centers as VP of Human Resources at their corporate headquarters in Montgomery, Alabama. So healthcare, childcare, major manufacturing. I was with a company called ITW, Illinois Tool Works, with them for about 8 years. Joined them in Texas, went to their corporate office in Chicago, and went from there to a manufacturing operation that they had in Arkansas. Nobody in the company wanted to go there, but I raised my hand and said, I need to get out of Chicago. I didn't like shoveling my driveway to go to work in the morning. But anyway, that turned out to be a very good move because that's where I met my wife. We'd now been married 33, 4 years, such. And so we crossed paths in Arkansas. She was from Michigan. And as I mentioned, I think I said I was from Texas and moved around a lot. And just as I said, God had a plan, and we crossed paths in Arkansas. And again, 34 or 5 years later, still married, happily married.
Well, God bless you. That's a nice, healthy, long marriage. As far
Yes,
as,
it is.
and you have an extensive background, and I have checked your voting record. It's very conservative. Could you tell us a little bit about your three major platform issues as far as Georgia, what you describe as the major issues?
Well, when I announced I've been campaigning since September. And when I announced my campaign, it was originally pass constitutional carry, outlaw critical race theory from the classroom, and then support additional changes that I believe need to be made in Georgia's voting laws. You know, we passed SB 202, and we didn't go far enough with some of the things. We need outlaw drop boxes, for example. So again, initially identified those three areas out of a long list of things that need to be done. Well, the Georgia General Assembly passed a bill in the waning hours, literally in the waning hours of the 22 session. It passed a bill to, in my mind, they didn't really outlaw critical race theory from being taught, but They basically said, we're not going to have any we're not going to teach any mean-spirited things in the classroom. And I don't think we went far enough. We didn't, for example, there are no penalties for teachers who continue to violate what our state school superintendent says, and all the local county school superintendents say in this area that I live. They all say CRT is not being taught. It's not part of the official state curriculum, and so therefore it's not an issue. Well, I disagree. It needs to be. We need to further strengthen that. So we passed a pretty decent constitutional carry bill, and a pretty decent, at least got a start on the critical race theory. So we still need to deal with voter integrity. As I mentioned, we need to outlaw drop boxes, strengthen signature verification. And one of the areas that crosses over into,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, one of the areas that crosses over into election integrity is I sponsored legislation, actually for several terms, to change the driver's license that Georgia currently issues to non-citizens, including illegal aliens. We currently issue a driver's license that's horizontal, looks just like the one you and I carry, and it has the words limited term at the top. And I proposed to changing that to a vertical orientation, making it, which is technology that Georgia currently has.
Right.
Our DDS already issues that kind of a driver's license to under 21 drivers. So we need to continue to work on the election integrity. And I've already been working with a number of senators who are going to either unopposed or whatever to build a coalition. So when I get into the Senate, we can continue to do some things that we need to do there.
That's good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
And Debbie Dooley told me you're basically an America First candidate.
Yes, I am. Yes, I was a Trump supporter, and I happen to believe that Biden is I guess can't use the word illegitimate because he did get the electoral
Right.
votes. And so by the US Constitution, there's nothing we can do to
Right.
get him out of office. But I believe in Georgia that we ought to decertify our electoral votes. Do
Right.
what Arizona's been trying to do, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania. And even though we can't remove Biden from office, in my mind, it would forever go on record that Biden did not win enough electoral votes to be considered our president. I don't.
Amen to that.
There was enough fraud out there that's clearly documented. You know, he's an illegitimate president, but he is because he was sworn in, and that's what the Constitution says. So,
And one of the things, when
Sure.
we had a quick phone call, you were telling me about some legislation you were supporting about veterans.
Yes, I co-sponsored, I believe, if memory serves me correctly, I have been a proponent of exempting veteran retirement pay from Georgia's state income tax, and I've been a proponent of that for years. What we ran into in the House was House Speaker Ralston. That's another story I should share a little bit about with you in a minute, but would
That's
never
okay.
allow that.
You could tell me that one offline because that won't matter for the national group, but I know
Sure.
exactly what you're talking about.
Anyway, so I have long been a proponent that we need to waive the exempt veteran retirement income from Georgia state income tax. So I am a proponent of actually doing away with our income tax system because fundamentally I believe that what we do at the state level in Georgia and at the federal level is we are taxing the wrong end of the economic spectrum. We are discouraging hard work. We are discouraging productivity. We're discouraging savings by the kind of system that we have in place. So if we go to a consumption-based tax, you know, we can exempt not only veterans, but low-income people, elderly that are on a fixed income. There are all kinds of ways to model a consumption-based or fair tax system that allows us to take care of all these people. But what a lot of people don't realize about a fair tax system in Georgia, Georgia has a multi-billion-dollar cash underground economy. A fair tax system will begin to tax those people, the drug dealers, human traffickers, gamblers, and those who are paid in cash. They will begin to be taxed as they make their purchases of TVs, phones, whatever. So there will begin to draw some income from those folks to the state. And that's just kind of one of the hidden benefits of a consumption tax system. So to answer your question in a long-winded way, I didn't mean to get so long-winded about it. Yes, I support veterans are exactly the kinds of citizens that we need to attract into our state. And you know better than I don't know what the numbers are, but Georgia has a huge veteran population. And those are the great kinds of people that not only have they fought for our country, many of them have died, as we know, but those are the kind of people that we want in our country. They're good people. And I believe by attracting those people into our state, we will far offset any loss of revenue to the state for the income tax. So yes. And what I have said is I will support, sponsor, co-sponsor, whatever, that same legislation should I be elected to the Senate. That needs to be the first step that we do in changing our state income tax system, exempt veteran retiree pay.
Well, thank you so much. I like everything, your platform and the issues you're getting involved with. And I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up and forward it over to our board. And hopefully they could get a vote in a couple of days for you. And I really appreciate your time, Jeff. And you'll be hearing from Vlad Lemets or myself in a couple of days.
Okay, Stan. Well, thank you for reaching out. And it's kind of last minute, but I mean, at this stage, I mean, every vote counts.
Every vote counts. I mean, if we could get you past the board review and they endorse you, then you could get it on your social media for a week leading up to the election, and it might get you some more votes.
Well, I found out today in McIntosh it was their second Saturday, and I engaged a lot of people. There are still people who have not voted, and some who have not decided.
Yeah,
so I think there's still an opportunity to use for lack of a better word, use the endorsement of your group to my benefit and help me get elected. Now,
Well,
I don't know if that, let me, one other thing, just real quick. I have been endorsed by the Georgia Freedom Caucus.
that's a
That's
big
that new
one.
group. Yep. And been endorsed by the GRA, Georgia Republican Assembly,
Another
and
big one.
also endorsed by the Conservatives in Action. See, Georgia Conservatives in Action. So,
And just for the
you know,
record here, for the board members, because I'm the only one in Georgia, what the three endorsements Jeff is talking about are a big deal in Georgia, very respected organizations. So those are other good endorsements for Jeff. And Jeff, we thank you so much for your time, and we'll get back to you soon, my friend.
I thank you for your time, Stan.
You take care now.
Yes, sir. You too.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.